Have you ever lost your faith in finding something that you lost a long time ago? A custodian at the North Canton Middle School never expected to find something this interesting while working. It was spring 2019 when Chas Pyle, a janitor in Ohio, was doing some repairs at a local school. What he never expected was to find a strange item stuck behind a piece of detachable metal that turned out to be an absolute treasure.
Hello, wonderful people. I'm Scott Leffler for WonderBot. And here is...
Man can't believe his eyes after 70-year-old time capsule is opened.
Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
It was 2019 and Chas Pyle was having a normal workday. He was doing some repairs, cleaning the floor, taking out the trash, basically what he does on a regular basis. This day he was specifically asked to repair the lockers that were a little loose. Little did he know that something incredible was about to happen. When Chas was removing and fixing the wall trim that he was asked to repair, he found the equivalent of years of dust and dirt, but something much more special caught his eye. A piece of metal that covered the space between the wall and the locker was removed and revealed the amazing discovery. Something was behind all that dirt. It was definitely not hard to imagine that it had decades there. Chas said he couldn't remember if that metal bar was ever moved in all his working years at the Institute. At first, the only thing Chas could see was a red thing, but after taking a closer look and grabbing the object, it became clear that he was in front of a leather red purse. What he didn't expect was what happened next. Of course, Chas did the obvious thing, took the purse to the front office staff. When it was in the front officer's power, it was their turn to figure out what to do now. The purse's condition and deteriorated state let them figure that it had been lost for at least 30 years. But regardless of how long it was lost, the team had an objective: to find out its owner. A quick inspection and look inside the bag led the investigation to an incredible discovery. The things found inside the bag led the team to discover who owned this purse from 1957. A teenager called Patty Rumfola, who was 14 at the time. What she left that day at the school was certainly very special and held tons of things from an era that were left behind and barely remember, which is why this purse became so special and the team was working on returning it to its owner. And that's not all. The purse's content was revealing, to say the least. It gave Chas and the school a vivid glance of how Patty and young teenagers' life was like. And of course, how much it's changed. As you can imagine, the life of a 14-year-old from when Dwight D. Eisenhower was president and phones weren't even a thing was a lot different from the life that teenagers have in this century. Some of the stuff there clearly belonged to a person from a very different time from ours, so it became a challenge to find her. To return the bag and her belongings, they first needed to track her down. The team in charge of this investigation started reviewing again the things inside the bag to see if they can find something useful. The school officials were sure that the now elderly Patty would feel a mixture of shock and happiness if she found her long-lost purse. But they quickly figured out that extra help would be needed since the information inside the bag wasn't enough to find her. They figured that a lot of people can do more than the small team that they were looking for, which is why they quickly turned to the general public to help them find the owner of the purse. The North Canton City Schools Facebook page published the story and where people could find more information on who Patty was and what had happened that lucky day at school. With the Facebook community help, someone close to Patty's family handled the contact information of one of her closest family members. Despite the difficulty, the school team still managed to find a way to contact her children. And when the officials told them that the reason behind their call, the family had some really sad news. At first, when the officials got in touch with Patty's children, they weren't helpful, and surely were not interested in what they found in that small gap at the school. Minutes later, the crew found out why. Their mother passed away almost 5 years before, in 2013. It was sad for them to hear this news, but that didn't stop them from at least trying to give their relatives what their mother left at school so many years ago. Which is why the school invited her children to a revealing ceremony that felt like the opening of a time capsule. But were they ready for what they were about to see? Patty Rumfola had a great life. She married John G. Michelle and had 5 children with him. But she was much more than a mother. She was an incredibly passionate school teacher, was one of the founding members of the Theater Arts Guild and the Young Women's Club. According to her loved ones, she enjoyed life and book clubs. She was also a costume designer and an amazing grandmother. You'd think this nice lady wouldn't keep anything suspicious in her bag, right? Amongst the many items that mistakenly traveled through time inside Patty Rumfola's purse, a once green, now brownish wallet was found. Certainly, time has taken a toll on Patty's old wallet, but this didn't faze Patty's family. They wanted to explore the new insight they now have into their mother's adolescence. They didn't really expect all the spoils they found inside it. Inside Patty's wallet, a fair bit of change was found. 27 cents might not get you much in today's standards. In the 1950s, 27 cents could go a long way, even affording Patty some lunch. Losing this amount of money back then must have really been an inconvenience for her. The coins were split between her children in order for them to feel a closer connection with their mother and her past. But the next object was a little odd for someone to carry around. Other interesting findings made by the school were a small group of pictures Patty always seemed to carry around with her, to bring with her all those who are closest to her heart, including family members and even the family dog. These photos surely made her family happy when they were found, but the most exciting part is yet to come. The beautifully packed slice of peppermint beech nut gum was one of the most fascinating discoveries. Anyone who knew her knew that she loved her gum peppermint in her early days. One problem on everybody's mind was the gum brand, as nobody knew about it. Beech nut was an important brand from the end of the 19th century. The business still exists, mainly producing baby food, though it isn't as popular as it used to be. Chewing gum peaked in the 1980s, and these days it's probably very difficult to find. The objects found in her purse allow us to understand how those times used to be. But the next one was super unexpected. A note found in Patty's purse shows us that she was beloved by her friends and family. Out of the stuff they found, this is probably one of the most delightful ones. A note written by a former friend named Bonnie on the back of a picture reads, "Good luck to a swell girl and friend. Never forget the wonderful times we had. I hope we can be good friends always, even though we're far apart." This shows how much she was loved by her friends and family. But then something was found in her purse that shocked everyone. Various 1950s memorabilia related to her school's sports were found. Patty was definitely a supporter of both the school's baseball and football teams, attending every game she could, both home and away. Patty would always be there for her team and her school. The next discovery shows us what a big heart Patty had. Patty's American Junior Red Cross membership was one of the most touching discoveries inside the bag. While today's Junior Red Cross may not be very popular, it was once very popular with youngsters. During the First World War, the organization gained massive popularity between school children and teenagers. And that's not all. In Patty's purse, a YMCA membership card was also found. This shows us how much Patty cared about helping and working towards improving her community. YMCA has always focused their work towards helping communities and doing community outreach, aiding those in need with shelters, housing services, helping families, and many more help programs. But the next discovery really made us take a look into the past and ourselves. An old yellowish comic book cutout was found in her purse. It shows a middle-aged man that's saying, "Yes, cook something French or Italian from some other continent." Well, the bad joke didn't crack a laugh in the family members or school officials. What shocked them was what they found next to it. A cute doodle of the man shown in the comic strip cutout, probably made by Patty out of boredom. Now her family can have a better view of how their mother entertained herself in her younger years. A complete surprise was what they found next. At the time Patty was attending school, religion was much more important than it is today in American society, and Patty's bag is living evidence of this. We noticed a Catholic collar, and when the children searched at their mother's possessions, there was also a medallion with Jesus' face. It read, "Sacred Heart of Jesus, I place my trust in thee." One of the most surprising discoveries was that both were in great shape that still lasted despite being locked away for more than half a century. All of her belongings found by school officials really allowed us to understand How was the life of a normal 1950s teenager? What was important for her and what she liked doing? Many things like library cards, makeup, pocket calendars, the school football team's match schedule, her religious relics, and her YMCA membership cards and more permitted her family to learn more about her life, and even after her death. Not only that, now they have new mementos of their mother and a great reminder of what a big heart she had. You might be wondering what happened to Patty right after school. Now that we have an insight into Patty's school life, you may be wondering what happened with Patty after high school. According to her obituary, Patty lived a full and happy life. Patty was also a costume designer and seamstress at the Reitz Theater, where she loved spending time with her friends, but most importantly, her grandchildren. It also stated she enjoyed the ladies of the lake and her book and quilting clubs. Unfortunately, her husband preceded her death in 2007. Patty died in 2013 at the age of 71 in Du Bois, Pennsylvania. The children were super touched by the school's gesture of returning her mother things, and also they were happy that they got to know a side of their mother that was super special. Stephanie, Patty's daughter, wrote, "I cannot thank you enough. We agreed that Mom would have been so excited if she could see all of this. Would have made her smile so hard to know that this has been found and reminisced in a day in the life of her old self." This touching story became viral after multiple newspapers wrote about Patty's purse and life. She accomplished in 1957 one modern dream: virality. But what the discovery and her life taught us was much more special. Near the anniversary of the discovery, the North Canton City Schools posted on Facebook Patty's obituary as follow-up to all those who are interested in the purse's story. And while the purse was stuck in time between a wall and a locker, Patty wasn't frozen at all. She lived a long, happy, and full life next to her husband, children, and family. She was a school teacher for many years in Annapolis, Maryland. She also liked theater arts, quilting, book clubs. For Patty's family, it may have been a wonderful discovery that let her children and grandchildren learn more about her young life and what a great person she was. This discovery allowed us to see how life in general has evolved since the 1950s, seeing how many of her trinkets and things in her purse are nowadays obsolete, but back then were total lifesavers and completely necessary. Makes you think, what's important and necessary to your everyday life that might just not be in the next 70 years?